name's Michael Bosey. Welcome to what is episode 187 of this podcast. What a week. What a couple weeks. What a few years we've had. And we turn the page now, and it feels pretty good, right? We take a breath, a little time to reset. But a reset means that the clock is ticking now, right? Who's going to get out there first and control the messaging? You're going to see the rational among us give this new administration a little space. You're going to see a race for who defines the agenda going forward. And then very quickly, you're going to hear impatience. We're not going fast enough. It's not the right priorities. And it's quickly going to get to, well, see, it didn't work. And through the whole thing, the media, in all forms, is going to pervert the process. And we need to be ready for this. My fear is that we're not ready and that we won't learn a single lesson from the past 4 years, and we'll fall right back into the old habits that got us into trouble in the first place. And to me, I look at this and I think our biggest challenge is this. The media is going to make this possible and difficult at the same time. And it's still my contention that after all this, if we're going to get through this, define a new era, we're going to need to find a way to talk to one another. And this is going to be difficult. And what makes me think that is, one thing that struck me after the inauguration was some videos that were being passed around of MAGA people sobbing, literally sobbing over what they perceive Joe Biden is going to do to the country, how it's going to be awful, police state, you won't be able to fly American flags anymore. I mean, just insane stuff. And all I could think was, how much disinformation do you have to eat to reach the conclusion that Joe Biden is an extremist? Joe Biden. This is crazy. But that's the way that media works, right? There's a few different things that we want to be on the lookout for. What we consume, what we share, and what we produce. Now, with what we consume, I can't help you with this, right? You know to be careful about what you consume media-wise. You wouldn't eat something that a stranger gave to you, would you, right? Vet your sources. Now, what we share, look, this is a stamp of approval when you share something, even though you might say it's not. Sometimes you see people put in their profile, retweet is not equal to an endorsement. Yes, it is. It reflects on you, so make sure you're proud of what you share. It will come back to you. But then the thing, of course, I want to focus on in this is what we produce. This is the part that I feel qualified to speak about as a writer, producer, content strategist. Look, we're all marketing ourselves in one way or another, and here's what I see. Two things. One, too much of marketing is mimicking what other marketers do because we see what people do and we kind of fall into the habit of, well, if it works for them, then it probably will work for me too. And there are some really bad habits out there that we need to squash. And the second thing is that all this has the effect of making us come off as selfish and always selling. This is a turnoff. And sometimes we do this without even realizing it. And here's the thing. How are we going to get our ideas across if we're turning people off by the way that we show up in the media environment? We all could use a tune-up, and I want to dedicate this show and what I do to helping debug that process, to get into the nuances so that whatever we project has the power you intend it to have. That could be in your business, your creative ventures, personal projects, even in the way that you talk to friends and family and help advance some progressive ideas forward. We want to be making progress, not going backwards. I'm suspicious of anything that wants to go back or go backwards, right? Humans like to make progress. And the way that we talk to one another with the right energy, the right empathy, ethics, it makes a difference. And anything that we produce or put out there in the world is, as I like to say, the digital representation of you. So it's important that we get it right. Now, here's what I want to do. I have been publishing a series about podcasting, specifically for writers, though the strategies could work for anyone. And I've been letting that run over the past few weeks while I made a personal transition. I moved house in December, still in the Boston area, just a little farther to the outskirts, and it's been a great thing for me. And perhaps you can even hear a different sound because obviously I'm in a different recording space, and it's been great so far. And I'll probably talk a little more about that in coming episodes, etc. But I've been letting this series run over the past few weeks, and it's got one more episode, which is kind of cool, about repurposing audio from podcasts to create some other format like an online course or an audiobook. Something I've used with clients, and it's great. It's a great way to be efficient. So I think I'll publish that next week and then get into some more of these other topics. And I have some other things in mind just based on work that I'm doing with clients, etc. But I really want to steer into this idea of, again, sort of debugging that process of what we produce in our media environments and really looking at some of the nuances. And I hope that you'll come along on this journey with me. Now, I'm going to try to stick to, on this podcast, things that will have some applicability to small business and creatives, just because, hey, look, that's why you're here. And things that stray from that, I think I will reserve for this new project that I'm doing on Patreon, which is in its early stages, but something I'm calling Consider the Source. And I invite you to join me there to get into some other topics and do a deep dive on things that are maybe not as applicable to this show. So you can find me there at patreon.com/MBOEZI, Mbozi, that's me. And we'll see what that turns into. So join me there if you're interested, and otherwise, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.